Hey, what's up, everybody out there? How you doing today on YouTube, man? We're back here with some top 10 Texas scary urban legends this time. I want to see what urban legends they're bringing up. I know probably about two off the top of my head in Texas, so I want to see which one specifically they bring up on this series. I'm here in Texas as well, so it has a little bit of interest for me in this one. Let's go ahead and see what they're talking about here.
Yeehaw! We are talking about Texas today, and if you're from Texas,
We really had to open up the video with some yeehaw, man. All right, damn. We don't say that, guys. We don't say that. We don't say that all the time. Okay, we do say it sometimes.
you're in for a
Not
treat.
really.
Because I'm your host, Andrew, and here are your top 10 scary urban legends from Texas. At our number 10 spot, we have the Candy Lady. In the early 1900s, children in the rural town of Terrell, Texas started to go missing. Some of the residents blamed it on the Candy Lady. The story says that she would go around leaving candy on children's home windows just before bedtime. As the parents began to fall asleep, it'll encourage children to grab the candy, but as they try to grab it, the lady grabs them and feasts on their sugar-laden blood until there isn't any left. A farmer allegedly found rotten teeth on his farm and later found the body of a boy with his pockets stuffed with candy. Many people believe that Candy Lady is in fact real and went by the name of Clara Crane. Clara Crane was accused of poisoning her husband back in 1895 with poison-laced caramel candies. But that's not all. 5 years before the incident, Crane's 5-year-old daughter passed away from unknown causes, which many believe that she poisoned her daughter as well. At a number 9 spot, we have Lala.
You know, I like the way urban legends come about, man, because they're always a stem from a real story. So that one, even if she wasn't necessarily hunting down children with candy on their windowsills, it looks like maybe two deaths that were related and maybe done by her did have candy involved in them. She killed her husband with poison-laden caramel candies. Her daughter passed away. It's not hard to imagine that maybe she also tricked her daughter into eating some poison candy, and then it stretches on into an urban legend where maybe she's killing the town kids with candy. I haven't never heard of that one, so maybe that one's more local to where whatever part of Texas that one's in. But the Candy Lady, haven't ever heard that one, but I do know about the movie Candyman.
Llorona. This legend originates from El Paso, Texas. Almost all
I'll cut
Latin.
it back a little bit. La Llorona, yeah, I do know about this one. In case you don't know, here we go.
At a number 9 spot, we have La Llorona. This legend originates from El Paso, Texas. Almost all Latin cultures know the story of La Llorona, and the people of El Paso are no exception to that. La Llorona directly translates to the weeping woman, which perfectly describes the behavior of this malevolent spirit. She is said to haunt the riverbanks of the Rio Grande, where she is searching for her 2 children whom she had already drowned in that very river. Now, there are many iterations of the story, but I'll just mention the most popular one. The legend goes that a lady found her boyfriend with another woman. After a heated argument between the two, the woman was heartbroken and wanted to get revenge, so she took the children and proceeded to drown them in the Rio Grande River in Texas. It's also said that when she was done throwing her children into the river, she went back to her lover's home with a bloody wedding gown, showing her she would do whatever it took to be with him. It's said to be the reason why many children disappear in that very area, and she supposedly takes other children to fill the void she lost. So if you're in the area, beware of a woman weeping in a wedding gown who is sitting by the Rio Grande. At number 8.
Yeah, that's crazy though, right? I mean, think about that. Like, how many stories in real life are happening just like that? Once again, urban legend, but it's stuff that really happens, man. She was a scorned lover. Her husband was cheating on her. In revenge, she took their kids and freaking drowned them in the river, and then went back and, you know, in her blood-stained dress or whatever, to the husband. Like, things like that really happen, man. You scorn somebody, you hurt them, and they will go out and hurt the things that you love most, which are usually your children. It's crazy. Actually happening all the time, man.
Spot of El Cucuy. This creature is known as South Texas' official boogeyman. There are many versions of El Cucuy since it already originates in Mexico as well. It's said that this monster kidnaps children who misbehave and takes them back to the mountain where he lives to devour them. He appears as a hairless creature with an enormous head that dwarfs his spider-like body. He also has these large red glowing eyes, red ears to hear everything, and razor-sharp fangs and claws to accompany that. The origin of El Cucuy goes that a man was suffering with tuberculosis. Desperate to cure himself, he fetched an African witch doctor. The doctor told him to drink a child's blood, but as he did, he started to turn into the monster described. Ever since, he has a never-ending thirst for children's blood. At our number 7, we
Okay, so I knew Cucuy just by the name Cucuy. It's literally boogeyman. For, like he was saying, like the Latino, Latin cultures. It's yeah, Cucuy. So I've heard of that term. I didn't know there's actually a whole legend around that monster, that urban legend. So that was kind of cool to hear right there. and have some foundation, like something built off the foundation of Kukui, and understand that it's actually a legend with a guy with fangs, a spider-like body. He said it kidnaps you, takes you up to the woods or the mountains. Didn't know all that.
Blood. At our number 7, we have the Screaming Bridge. In North Arlington, Texas, 50 years ago, there was a group of teenage girls driving home from a football game. The bridge was designed to only fit one car at a time, and I know, what a dumb bridge, but this was in the past and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. The girls weren't paying attention and went full speed over the bridge until a car with no headlights struck them head on, with all of the girls passing away. Some say when they go near the bridge, they can hear the distant screams sounding like the girls before they passed away. As well, if you go over the bridge and look down at the water below, you can see the tombstones of all the girls with their names and birthdays written on it. At number 6 spot, we have the Goatman's.
I've heard similar stories to that. I don't know if that's where that, did he say where that was in Texas? But I'm curious, wherever you guys live, do y'all have a similar story of that? Maybe a bridge, a railroad crossing? Because over here in my town, we have a railroad crossing, and it actually, I think it got demoed recently a couple years back, so it's no longer there. But you used to be able to park your car there, and like you'd get pushed. It felt like you'd get pushed up a hill, and I don't exactly know how the physics of it worked, but literally it looks like you're going uphill, and there was an explanation for why it felt and looked that way. But then if you coated the back of your car with like baby powder or something like that, flour, you'd see the handprints, where actually I think the handprints were something along with like the oils that were left on the back of the car from opening your trunk and stuff. But it was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. You'd go park your car, put the powder on the back of your car would literally feel like it's rolling uphill, being pushed uphill out of the railroad tracks, and then handprints would show up on the back of your car. It's pretty trippy. But I'm curious, wherever y'all live, do y'all have similar stories like that? That's what that story just reminded me about, the Screaming Bridge.
Birthdays written on it. At number 6 spot, we have the Goatman's Bridge. Why are there so many haunted bridges? Like, I don't get it. But in Denton County, Texas, lies the Goatman's Bridge, which was built in 1884. This bridge is supposedly haunted by the ghost of the Goat Man. The story goes that a black goat farmer named Oscar Washburn was renowned for quality meat, milk, and cheeses, and then he moved with his family just north of the bridge. Except when he arrived in this area, he was instantly the target of racial hate crime. The racist townfolk came together and burned down the farm with the family inside. They then threw Oscar's body over that very bridge. Now he appears as a half goat, half man humanoid that reeks of decaying flesh. If you knock on the bridge 3 times, it said that you can summon the Goat Man, but now others use this area for rituals and other supernatural activities. Right in the hump of our...
So the urban legend ended up making it so that people who want to maybe go out and conduct some ritualism stuff, some rituals, will go out to the Goat Bridge. Pretty cool story, man. Urban legends fascinate me. I like understanding. He's doing a pretty good job of telling you the origins of this story. So that one's really cool. You know, a farmer, his family got burned up, and they had a goat, multiple goats and stuff, and then he came back as a half-breed, right? A goat, a hybrid goat and man, smells of rotten flesh. It's pretty crazy. You go to the bridge, you knock 3 times, and he'll show up. It's pretty cool. I like a good urban legend, man.
Right in the hump of our list, we have the Lady of White Rock Lake. The lake is located in Dallas, Texas, and many visitors claim that they spot a drenched young woman who appears crawling out of the water or asking to fetch a ride. When many people offer her this ride, she disappears out of thin air and leaves a bloody, wet seat mark and a terrified driver. Even though many of the drivers were scared to their core, some decide to go to the address given to them by the girl. When they arrive at the door, they're all met by the same man who tells them that his daughter had gone sailing and never came back. Many people believe the story is inspired by the 1953 book Neiman Marcus, Texas, the story of the Proud Dallas Store, and according to the book, Malloy and his wife are driving home late one night in East Dallas when a young, beautiful blonde girl ghost appears on the road. Her elegant dresses is naturally wet and she seems to be in trouble. She gives them an address on Gaston Avenue and asks them to be taken home, but as they drive, she disappears, leaving only a mark. At our number 4 spot.
Alright, I'm really curious on that one. I like doing these videos because so many of these stories are relatable. Now that one was really relatable. My dad was a taxi cab driver, and he's told us a story multiple times throughout my life, the same story about a lady that he picked up, took to her house. She went inside. He waited outside a bit for the fare. She was going in to get the fare. Nothing happened. He was still waiting. So finally he said, man, I'm going to go up and knock on that door. It was like, I don't know, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning. Went and knocked on the door. Older lady answered the door. My dad said he was waiting for so-and-so. She broke down because her daughter, the one that he had mentioned, had died years prior to that on the same road that I guess he had picked her up, something along them lines, man. And just like that. And my wife, my wife really doesn't believe it. She's like, I've heard that story. Like, that story's been around forever. But just because it's been around forever, I feel like people could still have that same encounter, right? If you have lost souls out there, I could totally see it happening. I don't know. I'm not a overly big believer myself, but I can see it happening if it's true. If that's, you know, a real scenario, ghosts are hanging out, sticking around, I could see it happening. Let me know what you guys think on that one.
Fourth spot, we have the Lake Worth monster. You just learned about the Goatman, right? Well, this is basically the Goatman, but of the lake. This monster terrorized the people of the town for years, with many describing the creature as being 7 feet tall, around 300 pounds, long-necked, flop-eared, pot-bellied, covered in white scales and hair. I swear I just described Shaquille O'Neal. The monster was supposedly captured on camera, but you guys be the judge of that one. It looks like a 2-year-old drew on a camera lens on a potato with a crayon and then took this photo. But who knows, it might be real. This beast was inspired by Sally Ann Clark's book, The Lake Worth Monster of Greer Lake, Fort Worth, Texas. In the book, the monster jumped on the hood of someone's car and shook up the car so badly that they got caught in a bad accident. The people described it being a 7 feet tall being covered in scales and fur and resembled a half goat and half man. Pretty scary if you ask me. All the way at our number 3 spot, we have the Donkey Lady. The Donkey Lady of San Antonio, Texas.
At the beginning of this video, I said I've heard of at least 2 urban legends in Texas. The first one was La Llorona. The second one was here, the Donkey Lady, man. And I didn't say the Donkey Lady because I'm like, oh, maybe that's just a little bit more local. Here we are, we're talking about the Donkey Lady. So let's dive into this one. I didn't know much about the Donkey Lady as a kid. I just knew there was a number, and if you called the number, you would hear the Donkey Lady, and they're, sure enough, bro, it'd freak you out, man. You'd call it, and it'd sound like a trippy ass version of some donkey that you could imagine, man. It was crazy. It was crazy as a kid. You freaked out by it. All right, let's see what's up.
Pretty scary if you ask me. All the way at our number 3 spot, we have the Donkey Lady. The Donkey Lady of San Antonio, Texas dates all the way back in the late 1800s. The Donkey Lady was once a beautiful woman with children and a husband, but one day in a rage, the husband burned down the house with the children and wife still inside. The children passed away, but however, the wife managed to survive, but suffered greatly from this. Her toes and fingers would be fused together in a hoove-like way, and her face was melted and sagging, inspiring the Donkey Lady name. There's a bridge in South San Antonio named the Old Applewhite Bridge, or the Donkey Lady Bridge. This is the bridge she went to crown after this horrible tragedy. Now it's said if you go to the bridge after midnight and call out the Donkey Lady, she will appear just before you. Some have claimed she had run at people who call out her name, or sometimes just stalks in the forest line waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. At number 2 spot.
Okay, so it must have been a little bit more hush hush as far as the phone number. I was really wondering if he was gonna put that in there. But yeah, Donkey Lady. Okay, so I finally got some background on that, man. Husband burned her and her kids alive, but she ended up surviving with some deformities that made her look like that, and then she haunted prey out after her life was passed, or maybe I guess she's still around, just haunting and hunting prey down.
Right. At number 2 spot, we have the girl who danced with the devil. This story takes place in the 1970s in San Antonio, Texas, with a young Mexican girl named Rosa. One day, the girl wanted to attend a dance at a nearby nightclub named the El Cabaroncito. However, the parents were very strict and didn't want her anywhere near the nightclub. Despite their orders, she snuck out of her house and traveled all the way to the nightclub where she could finally have her dance. At the club, Rosa was approached by this very tall, charming, and well-dressed man who asked her permission to dance. When they began dancing, Rosa was terrified when she discovered he had goat hooves instead of feet. When she screamed in terror, people in the club started to chase him out, but as he got close, he vanished out of thin air, leaving a trail of smoke and the smell of sulfur. Devil activity if that wasn't enough. It's said that the area surrounding the nightclub still smells of sulfur to this day. At a number 1 spot with El Muerto. Wow. El Muerto, otherwise known as the Headless Horseman of Texas, is a Texas legend that dates all the way back in the mid-
Damn, hold on, we got our own Headless Horseman? I didn't know that. Okay, alright, dude. We're up there in urban legends, I feel it.
It's a Texas legend that dates all the way back in the mid-1800s. The story goes that 2 rangers, Creed Taylor and William Bigfoot Wallace, were hunting a criminal known as Vidal along the Mexican border. Vidal had been wreaking havoc all across the state of Texas, so when the ranger caught them, they wanted to set an example. So they did just that and cut his head clean off. They then tied his head to the saddle and sent his horse with the headless body running off into the night. Now the horse continued to explore the region with its headless rider. The tale of El Muerto began to grow after it was reported that both had been seen numerous times and that gunshots had no impact on either of them. Spotting El Muerto was thought to foreshadow bad luck because everyone who claimed to have seen him was struck with a series of bad luck and poor health following it. Well, these are your top 10 Texas scary urban legends. What do you guys think about this list, and what state should we do next? Because I'm your host Andrew, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
There you go, guys. We got our own Texas urban legends here, man. Let me know if you're in Texas and you felt like some were left off the list. I want to do other Texas inspired top 10, see what else we got out there. This one was pretty cool, man. I got some more knowledge on urban legends in our home state, so I went from 2 to 10. Let's go. All right, well, hopefully y'all enjoyed that one, man. If you enjoyed it, let me know by leaving a like and a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, peace.